Tonight, judge overturns assessor's decision and finds Ndriti guilty. PM urges global sugar body to keep politics out of industry. And police seek Australian help in drug investigation. Very good evening. Former Land Force Commander Colonel Peter Ndriti has been found guilty of inciting mutiny by the Suva High Court. This is after High Court Judge Justice Paul Madigan overturned the three assessors' ruling of not guilty on both charges. The former senior military officer now remains in custody as he awaits his sentence next month.
It was a packed Suva High Court this afternoon waiting for Justice Paul Madigan's verdict on former military Land Force Commander Colonel Peter Ndriti. Earlier this morning, the three assessors in the trial all found the former senior officer not guilty of both the charges. But any joy from that for Ndriti proved to be short-lived. Just a few hours later, Justice Madigan told the court that evidence of fellow senior officer Lieutenant Colonel Manasa Tangithakimbau had established an overwhelming case against Ndriti. Justice Madigan says he cannot believe that Ndriti knew nothing of any plans until Lieutenant Colonel Mara visited him in mid-September 2010. Justice Madigan said that based on the evidence, he did not believe Ndriti's testimony. Justice Madigan described Ndriti as evasive, divertive, petulant, and ungracious. Madigan went on to say that while this does not necessarily make him guilty, Ndriti did not contradict himself, giving evidence that was incapable of belief. It was based on this that Madigan rejected the opinions of the assessor and found Ndriti guilty of the first count of inciting to mutiny. Peter Ndriti is now in custody, waiting on the final judgment to be delivered on the 10th of next month. Ndrebu Kailangi, Fiji One News.
Prime Minister Commodore Barenge Bainimarama has called on the global sugar community to keep politics out of their industries. Citing government's successful reforms here at home, Bainimarama told the International Sugar Organization in London last night that there were still too many politically driven interests in sugar, as well as too much regional and individual competition and self-interest. Bainimarama also told the 87-member global body that we now need a more holistic approach to the industry's challenges. He says it's also time for the industry to start thinking beyond its individual interests. Bainimarama also cited the recent abolition of sugar production quotas in the EU from 2017 as a challenge now facing the industry. Also in London with the PM is Sugar Permanent Secretary Manasa Waningi and FSC Executive Chairman Abdul Khan. The President Ratu Epeli Nailatikau this afternoon launched the 2013 World AIDS Day campaign. He also outlined his major concern for the nation with the increase in the number of new HIV cases each year since 2009.
As the country's lead ambassador and spokesman in the fight against HIV and AIDS, the President Ratu Epeli Nailatikau has today expressed his serious concern. Last year alone, 64 new HIV infection cases was identified. This is an increase of more than 10 new cases every year since 2009, when the number was at 43. Currently, the total confirmed cases stands at 508. 80% of those affected are from the Itoki community, with more than 50% falling within the 20 to 29 age group.
These facts are undeniable. We should not be tempted to downplay the statistics and impact or to deny the reality that we face. At the same time, the epidemic is not about statistics. It is about people, about families, about communities. It is about our loved ones.
Ratu Epeli says that we need to redouble our effort in this campaign, especially when it comes to HIV testing.
As HIV and testing and counseling services progresses, there is a need to strengthen the linkages between HIV testing and counseling and other established services to maximize uptake of prevention and treatment intervention. For example, what proportion of those tested positive have access to care and treatment?
He challenged the youth and their families to be in the front lines in trying to reduce the HIV/AIDS numbers in the country.
To the youth, the future belongs to you. Be responsible and do not expose yourself to risks. Parents and heads of household, let us be open with our children and educate them about HIV and how to prevent getting it. We can eliminate the scourge of HIV if we all take responsibility for their actions.
The World AIDS Day is celebrated on the 1st of December. Fiji's first reported case was in 1989. Nrebukelangi, Fiji One News.
With traditional protocols now underway, the province of Nandronga is now beginning preparations for the chiefly burial of its paramount chief, the late Ratu Sekiusa Makutu. At the Singatoka Subdivisional Hospital, traditional warriors of the Ekumbu clan from Volivoli village in Singatoka have been standing guard outside the mortuary where the body of the paramount chief has been kept. These warriors will observe the final rites which is accorded to all paramount chiefs of the Vanua o Nakuruwarua. That's until the body of the late Ratu Sekiusa Makutu leaves the facility for burial next Thursday. In the chiefly village of Luwu, the residents of the late Turanga Nakalebu, preparations for the week-long event has already started. Luwu is expected to host up to 6,000 people in the coming week as the official Rengu Rengu to the late paramount chief of the province of Nandronga will be observed. All students must take full advantage of the government's free education initiative in the coming year. Speaking at the prize-giving and graduation ceremony at Suva Muslim College this morning, Attorney General and Acting Prime Minister Said Qayyum told students and parents that this initiative is part of government's vision to improve the overall standard of living in Fiji. High school graduates were also urged to make an effort to attain higher tertiary qualifications.
All the way from class 1 and all the way up to the university, you all have an opportunity to be educated. It relieves that burden that's on the parents. It sets the future for those young people who will be educated. Because once you're educated, once you have the qualifications, your ability to be employed improves. Your ability to also, in the meantime, expand your mind, think outside the box, and eventually contribute towards your country will be greatly treasured, not by you only as an individual, but of course by society as a whole.
These students were also told that the future of Fiji is in their hands, and it will be up to them to realize the vision the current government has for the country.
So Fiji has enormous advantages that we can all take advantage of, and we must take advantage of it, because Fiji can become a jewel in the South Pacific. And this is exactly what the Bainimarama government has been doing. And this is exactly why I'm investing in the children, why investing in our youth, because they are the future leaders of tomorrow. And they are the ones who can make Fiji even greater than what it is today.
Fiji's losses from the impacts of climate change could reach 4% of our gross domestic product by the year 2100. That's 87 years from now. And that's according to a long-term assessment from the Asian Development Bank. According to the ADB's Pacific head, major weather anomalies forecast in the future could have a detrimental impact on the economy. Under a medium emissions scenario put together by the ADB, Fiji, PNG, Samoa, the Solomon Islands, Timor-Leste and Vanuatu could see temperatures rise by as much as 2 to 3 degrees Celsius by the year 2070. That's 57 years from now. PNG is also forecast to be the hardest hit, where climate change impacts could trigger a loss of up to 15.2% of its GDP by 2100. As the Christmas and school holidays approach, police is already expecting an increase in activities. This is particularly on our roads as well as seas. Police is therefore issuing a general caution to all mode of transportation, as well as pedestrians and passengers, to exercise extra precautions and safety at all times. So far this year, the national road death toll stands at 37 compared to the same number last year. Out of that figure, 23 deaths were pedestrians. A special warning also being issued to all public service vehicle drivers not to overload passengers and to stay within the national speed limit. The same warning applies to maritime vessel operators. The drowning toll so far stands at 39. That's compared to 62 in the same period last year. And the news ahead, value adding now the future of our coconut industry. And our wrap to the UN urges for sustainable growth policies. Hello again. Value adding remains the key focus of our coconut industry. Agriculture Minister Colonel Inia Seruratu says diversification is now the future of the industry. The graduation of local experts in the areas of virgin coconut oil also described as the start of good things to come for the industry.
This was the graduation for those who have undertaken training to earn some income from the sale of virgin oil and other byproducts. Colonel Inia Seruratu took the opportunity to also reveal what is in store for the Agriculture Ministry next year. He said that it is time for a change in attitude and policy.
It's exciting times before us. We have learned from our practices of yesteryears and including our failures, not only our failures but our successes as well. Our successes, we need to sustain them. And our failures, we need to improve on those areas. That's very, very critical for us.
For farmers, they have to also learn that what they produce can also determine the demand in the local market.
This is very, very critical. From production right through to the market. This is one of our key failures in the past. We were only focusing on production. We were producing for the sake of producing. But we were not sensitive enough to the needs of the market. In this modernization plan, it is the demand, the market demand that will shape and dictate how we produce.
Seruratu also confident that the ministry's strategy for value adding can also result in income generation.
You need to understand what are the demands of the market, what are the standards of the market. That's where the dollar is. Because if you want to, this is one of the key messages that I'm trying to promote. Let's come away from calling our farmers farmers. Let's call them farm entrepreneurs. Because I believe that farming is the best job, farming is the best business.
Fiji One News.
The Fiji Police Force is now seeking the assistance of the Australian Federal Police as it investigates the recent illegal drug find at Suva's King's Wharf. This was confirmed to Fiji One News by Fiji Police Assistant Commissioner Rusiate Tunravu today. ACP Tunravu says they have also had to send additional samples of the drug to Cornivia for additional testing. The drugs were initially discovered by vigilant customs officers at Suva's King's Wharf after noticing anomalies in shipping documents. ACP Tunravu says no one has been charged yet, but they hope to verify the actual substance contained in the drugs from the Australian counterparts as well. In an initial statement, the Fiji Revenue and Customs Authority had said that their tests had confirmed the substance to be GHB, which is an illicit drug under the Illicit Drugs Act. The containers had been addressed to a local importer who had ordered for 2 containers of soybean oil from China. As investigations continue, the drugs are being held at Totongo Police Station in the capital. Fiji's permanent representative to the United Nations, Ambassador Peter Thompson, has urged the global community to recognize that sustained economic growth is absolutely necessary for poverty eradication. Thompson reminded participants that global commitments towards sustainable development must incorporate the challenges faced by developing countries, adding that the economic pillar of sustainable development had been neglected under the MDGs. Speaking in Fiji's capacity as the chair of the Group of 77 and China, Ambassador Thompson addressed the 5th session of the Open Working Group on Sustainable Development at the UN this morning. Ambassador Thompson said that the challenge for the post-2015 development agenda is to incorporate macroeconomic issues to ensure the kind of inclusive growth that generates decent jobs and gives opportunities for all segments of society.
There is legitimate concern that framing systemic issues in macroeconomic policies, trade, debt, and other macroeconomic issues into goals may be a risky oversimplification in the overall SDG framework.
The Korean Embassy in Fiji will be staging its Korean Film Festival 2013 from next week. This will be held at Suva's Village 6 cinemas from Monday up until the 5th of December. This will be the second time that the Korean Film Festival is being staged here in Fiji. Organizers say this is also in response to the strong feedback from the Fijian public on the first Korean Film Festival in 2011, as well as increasing popularity of Korean movies worldwide. Fiji Television's free-to-air channel Fiji One also airs several Korean drama series. The 4-day program presents 3 Korean movies, Le Grand Chef, Detective K, and The Client, to over 200 guests each day. Korean Ambassador His Excellency Kim Seong-in says this Korean Film Festival has been prepared to promote cultural exchanges between Fiji and Korea. I hope Fijian people get to know and understand more about Korean movies and culture. The festival will keep strengthening the friendly relationship between the two countries. More than 2,000 people from 6 different villages in Rewa are expected to benefit from the proceeds of the Burunivalu Sevens tournament next month. Tournament organizer Ro Filipe Tuisawao says the funds raised will go towards a pathway project capacity building program for school leavers and other development projects. The organizers will also work with the Rewa Provincial Council and development agencies to materialize its plans.
Infrastructure, and the other thing which is quite important is assisting the school children, especially at primary school level, which is an area which is a problem area because of the difficulties in that area in terms of economic livelihoods.
We have news from around the Pacific up next. Stay with us. Archaeologists are excited about the discovery of several artifacts in Papua New Guinea made from volcanic black glass, which could be up to 6,000 years old. Radio Australia reports that Dr. Robin Torrance, a senior principal research scientist at the Australian Museum, found the objects while using a bulldozer. She says the objects, known as obsidian, were probably ceremonial. Dr. Robin says under the microscope it seems the objects were never used. According to the academic, the tools date back to before the Lapita people and could shed new light on the history and origins of the Pacific region's ancient civilizations. The artifacts will be housed at the National Museum of Papua New Guinea. In business news, local water bottling company EquiSafe has announced the construction of their new corporate head office as well as water bottling factory. This will be located in Namosi at the source of EquiSafe and Vaiwai Natural Artesian Water. In 2009, the company acquired over 420 acres of freehold land at Namosi. 120 acres has been set aside for company operations, which will include their new head office and water bottling plant, as well as the Killer Eco Adventure Park. On the remaining 300+ acres, the company has plans to develop a residential, commercial and industrial subdivision called Killer Estates. Phase 2 of this project will cost up to $7 million. Aaron is next with sport and FIU board meeting to reveal new boss.
Yes, Billy, the decision has been a long-awaited one. That's coming up. Also ahead tonight, Vivo Nivevo finally hangs his boots. And basketballers seek state blessings for Oceanias. Leading sports tonight, the Fiji Rugby Union will soon be announcing the successful candidate for its Chief Executive Officer's position. 3 applicants were interviewed last week, and it is expected that the final selection will be done after the FRU board meeting tonight.
The Fiji Rugby Union's board meeting will consider some major issues tonight.
2 important matters is, one is they'll go over the results of the interviews for the CEO. That's one. The second thing is the letter for IRB will be drafted for the board's approval before we reply to IRB. That's 2 of the things that will be covered.
The highlight of tonight's meeting could be the draft letter that could be sent to International Rugby Board expressing FRU's disappointment of Welsh referee Leighton Hodges dishing 5 yellow cards in the Flying Pigeons' loss to Italy a fortnight ago.
I think, yes, it's a letter of reflecting FRU's concern with the way the referee performed. Our referees have analyzed it, we have the report now, and so the board will then send on the letter to IRB.
The meeting will also discuss the position of new Chief Executive Officer. FRU has shortlisted 3 candidates after the interview, 2 from Australia and 1 local.
The first panel of interviews was done on Friday. We await that report. Again, it will be tabled at the board meeting tomorrow, then we can announce it after that.
It seems that FRU is putting the best people to run the affairs of the rugby house. Sevens team has England's Ben Ryan, HPU is now headed by Australian John McKee, and expect more expatriates to join the FRU. Irfan Khan, Fiji One News.
The Flying Fijians have climbed back to 11th place on the IRB rankings. Fiji moved 2 places up following their 26-7 victory over Romania on Sunday, switching places with Italy, who slipped 2 places to 13th. For the 4th year in a row, the All Blacks have finished their season as the #1 ranked side. Australia are back in the top 3, with England slipping to 4th. New Zealand's get-out-of-jail victory over Ireland did not just come down to a reset conversion, according to goalkeeper Aaron Cruden. The Kiwi fly-half admitted a slice of fortune in referee Nigel Owens ordering a retake after he fluffed a first attempt at the winning conversion in overtime yesterday. Ryan Crotty's last gasp try levelled the game at 22-22 before the Chiefs fly-half Cruden shanked the conversion.
Arguably the most important kick in Aaron Cruden's career.
Here he goes, Aaron Cruden, and this time he's nailed it.
From the depths of despair, the All Blacks crushed Irish hopes. Cruden already had a sighter. The Irish charged early on his first conversion attempt at 22 all, so he was given another shot.
Put my hands on my head thinking that I'd sort of stuffed up, I suppose, but to get a second crack, I was pretty happy.
Maybe the upset was never meant to be. Irish first 5 Johnny Sexton missed a penalty to put Ireland up by 8. With time almost up, the All Blacks earned a rare breakdown penalty. 35 passes and 12 phases later, a dream first test try.
Here's Coles. What a pass! What a pass! Ryan Crotty scores! Oh my goodness!
Players out on their feet, 60,000 stunned into silence.
A missed opportunity, and you don't get that many opportunities to play against the All Blacks.
At 19-0 down, the winning sequence was coming to a shock end before a 3-try fight back fended off the first loss to Ireland in 108 years.
When I was a young player, first started, I was in a provincial game actually, and the captain at the time, when we were down by a long, similar 29 to very little, I thought the game was over, and he said believe, and we got home in that game, and forever since then I've always myself never ever given up.
The game was that memorable Ranfurly Shield challenge by Wellington in 2001, a Todd Blackadder-led Canterbury winning in the last play. All but outplayed by Ireland, today's win was a testament to All Blacks' fortitude.
The Digital Fiji Sevens team has settled well since arriving in Dubai on the weekend. The side had 2 training runs under the watchful eyes of coach Ben Ryan and are looking forward to move up a gear as the tournament approaches this weekend. Team captain Osia Kulini Sau before the departure said the new look Fijian side is ready for the challenge.
We have a very good squad. Like the coach said, he has his game plan set out for us to play in. Some backs covering in for the forward, so we have both pieces on the wing. So we're looking forward to play it in Dubai.
Kulinissau is expecting a much better performance from their outing at the Gold Coast. Fiji opened their campaign against USA at 8:16 on Friday.
We played a good game. Unfortunate that we lost to England in the quarterfinal, but we played two crucial games in the plate semi-final and in the plate final. And we're looking forward to build from where we left off in the plate final.
The Vodafone Fiji Mbati arrive at this hour at Nandi Airport. Yesterday they departed London, but the World Cup semi-finalists left Heathrow without a few key members of their tour party.
It should have been a trip they looked forward to, but instead the Fiji Mbati tour party left Heathrow Airport without Fiji National Rugby League Deputy Chairman Joe Robotunde, Development Officer Johnny Wesley and players Ilisavani Chengesa, Tiki Konoke and speedster Marika Koroimbete.
Actually, we were told that we would not need visa. There would be, the boys just come through transit in Sydney, but in this case the airline policy and system is that we will need to check out in Sydney and check in again, and that would require leaving the airport and coming back in.
The Rugby League World Cup organisers have billeted the remaining group at Jury's Hotel, which is quite close to Heathrow, and are making every effort to get them home on an alternative route.
At the moment now, I've just organised a hotel for them to stay overnight in tonight. Tomorrow morning, one of our staff will be looking at alternative flights, hopefully to try and find a flight that we can get them into Fiji without the requirement for a visa, which may be through Korea, through Seoul.
The departed group will head into Fiji without coach Rick Stone, high-performance coach Michael Reid, and they are expected to spend 3 days in Fiji before the Australian-based players head home. Eloni Bunekeve and Daryl Millard also left the team at Heathrow and returned to France, where they play in the Super League competition. Asanatu Waningolo, Fiji One News.
Not even the heaviest defeat of his career could wipe the smile off Petero Thibunideva's face as his final rugby league fling with Fiji came to an end. The 37-year-old prop's competitive career ended brutally as Fiji were thrashed 64-0 by his former nation Australia. And there was an emotional farewell after the match.
Every time I was talking at home, I was talking about, what an honour, what a pleasure it was to be, in your company. It's been an awesome ride, and I just thank you all so much for all your hard work. Just amazing experience, coming to England and playing in front of these amazing crowds. Just massive congratulations to the organisers of the tournament. It's just been a huge success, and I know for all the players, it's been an amazing experience.
Both the Fiji basketball men's and women's teams fly out later tonight to a tough Oceania Championships in Wellington this weekend. Earlier today, the side had bid farewell to the nation with a fitting message from the President.
The final blessings from the nation's leading man, a very familiar sight for one of Fiji basketball's most experienced players.
This is one of the many that I've been fortunate to be able to attend. And the team has just been blessed and fortunate to be able to have the President address us today.
The Itatau a must for the young side headed for a tough Oceania Championships in Wellington.
Quite a good feeling, what the President said, wishing us all good luck,
Inside as usual, the President himself saying what needed to be said during their short stint together, as he also had another important function to attend.
You are there for a purpose. So we'll be here in Fiji, waiting for the results, waiting to hear the news of your success.
The traditional farewell bidding goodbye to a side building up to the 2015 Pacific Games in Papua New Guinea.
A young side, but very passionate, and we have a lot of heart to make up for the height that we do not have. we're looking forward and excited, very excited to be leaving tonight.
The side faces 8 other countries in the FIBA Oceania Championships. William Tambuya, Fiji One News.
It may just be an early Christmas for young Apollonia Babai, but it's one with a twist. She was awarded an IOC interim scholarship today. The scholarship enables funds for full-time training, travel expenses, and also competitions.
I'm very happy to take this scholarship. Apollonia will be sleeping, eating, weightlifting. So that's basically it. She wakes up, she trains, she sleeps, she wakes up, she eats. It's all about weightlifting now.
Also receiving the scholarships are athletics Leslie Copeland and judo's Chosateki No.
It's in our court now to see that we work with the provisions that has been given so that he can get training and get assistance.
This scholarship will definitely help him, especially to compete in international tournaments, which he is doing right now, but this will help him compete in more competitions.
At the first ever South Pacific Games in 1963, a 17-year-old athlete won silver in the 400 meters hurdles. And now 52 years later, he lives on to tell the tale. Graham Southwick has since represented Fiji in every Pacific Games, mostly in sailing, and it's an honor that's made him the guest speaker for the 2013 prestigious Fiji Sports Hall of Fame and Fiji Olympic Order Awards dinner this Friday at Novotel.
I will be talking a little bit about the conditions that we faced in 1963, the kind of tracks we used to have to run on, the tracking the training or the lack thereof that was available to us. And it was just a different era.
All eyes were on Rika Mbatimbasanga today in Sydney as he played a practice round with his good friend and World Cup golf champion Jason Day. Friends since the age of 10, Mbatimbasanga and Day have stayed in close contact for the last 16 years, despite living on opposite sides of the world. Mbatimbasanga said he was glued to the television set for the final round of the World Cup of Golf in Melbourne on Sunday, where Jason Day won in both the individual and team sections. Mbatimbasanga says that despite being friends, Day is also his role model and he tries to learn from the world number 11 whenever he can. Mbatimbasanga will tee off in the first round of the Emirates Australian Open at Royal Sydney Golf Club on Thursday. Manchester City shredded the meanest defence in English football's top flight by thrashing Tottenham Hotspur 6-0 at home yesterday, while Manchester United surge up the Premier League table, stalled after a 2-2 draw at Cardiff City. A 6-home win has put City in 4th place on 22 points, while United are in 6th spot with 21 points, 7 behind the leaders Arsenal.
Just 4 seconds slower than the fastest goal in Premier League history.
The relaunch, and not a very convincing one from the point of view of a goalkeeper who has to recover from a dreadful clearance and then see himself beaten inside 15 seconds.
A howler from the Tottenham keeper, followed by a brilliant Jesus Navas chip, the goal scorer soon turning provider.
Navas, goal side of Lamela. 3-0. It's not easy.
Spurs on their knees, but it would get much, much worse.
Yaya Toure for Manchester City. Aguero for... Oh, Negredo! Superb!
Navas started the rout and sealed the 6-goal shellacking. City into 4th place, 6 points behind leaders Arsenal, Tottenham tanking in 9th. Manchester United met Cardiff on Welsh soil for the first time in 52 years.
Oh, and Rooney. Now, did he have a little hack there? I mean, that is a red card offence here. It is a red card offence.
Wayne Rooney wearing blue, but lucky to see yellow instead of red after lashing out. He soon made amends for his earlier faux pas.
And Rooney on the turn, deflected and scores.
Cardiff striking back to level, a Patrice Evra header restoring Manchester's lead before this.
Whittingham. And Kim! Cardiff a level, just as 90 minutes appeared on the scoreboard.
The 2-2 draw leaving United 6th, 2 points outside the top 4.
William Yambaki once again starred for his Australian club, the Boroondara Cobras, in their 2-wicket win over Burwood Uniting Canterbury in Melbourne's Eastern Cricket League last weekend. Burwood Uniting Canterbury batted first and was dismissed for 135 in 69.5 overs. Yambaki was instrumental in Boroondara's fielding side, bowling economically with 0 for 9 off his 2 overs and taking 3 catches in the field. Then it was Burundara's turn at the crease, and besides the heroics of Cobra's vice-captain Zach Mowat, who made an unbeaten 63, Yambaki was the only other batsman to contribute to the winning score with decent runs. He came in at number 9 with the Cobras in big trouble at 7 for 33. And altogether he and Mowat piled on 70 runs before Yambaki was gallantly run out for 37. The Cobras then went on to reach their winning total without the loss of another wicket. Australian cricket captain Michael Clarke has been fined 20% of his match fee for using offensive language against England paceman James Anderson during the first Ashes test at the Gabba. Clarke was found guilty of breaching the ICC Code of Conduct. Australia won the contest by 381 runs to take a 1-0 lead in the 5-match series on Sunday.
Cricket is as old as the game itself. But did Australia's captain take it too far?
Get ready for a broken It's all getting a little bit nasty, isn't it, towards the end here?
I think there's always banter on the field, especially between Australia and England. You know, two teams that always play tough, hard-fought cricket on the field. I still believe there's a very good mutual respect off the field.
Regardless, that banter will cost him. The International Cricket Council now set to charge Clarke with a Level 1 Code of Conduct breach. If he had an inkling, he wasn't letting on earlier today.
The ICC, no reason for any complaints there, so you played the game in a good spirit, but you didn't cross the line as far as they're concerned.
Oh, you'll have to ask the ICC that?
But there's no complaints, that's what I'm saying. It's all been,
it's great news. It's great news.
Or not so great. He'll be fined 20% of his match fee, around $3,000. Clarke's opposite not too phased, taking more issue with David Warner's comments that England was scared and batsman Jonathan Trott's second innings dismissal was weak.
And the comment last night by David Warner was pretty disrespectful to any professional cricketer, really. Look, on the pitch, it's pretty much a war, isn't it, anyway? Yeah, so on the pitch is fine.
Probably went a little bit too far with the comments, but it's cricket, now it's in the back of their minds.
At the front of England's minds, no doubt, their utter capitulation.
This will be it. Johnson will get it. Caught and bowled Johnson.
Australia with the last word in more ways than one, as they picked up their first test win since January. And if this is anything to go by,
get ready for a broken
the fireworks are only just beginning.
And that's sports for today, Billy.
Thanks, Myron. Stay with us. We have World News up next. Hello again, we're on to world news now, and heavy fighting continued yesterday in Benghazi between Libyan army forces and an Islamist militant group. The group has been blamed by the United States for the attack last year on its diplomatic mission that killed 4 Americans, including Ambassador Christopher Stevens. Libya's state news agency reported that at least 6 soldiers and 1 civilian were killed and 39 people were injured, most of them soldiers. A senior Libyan military official in the city said heavy fighting continued yesterday morning as troops engaged members of the group in different parts of Benghazi. One more Greenpeace activist has been released on bail. Phil Ball is the 29th of the 30 activists who were arrested back in September. They were protesting at a Russian Arctic oil rig and were arrested for hooliganism. One more activist, Colin Russell, has been told he must remain in jail for 3 more months. They say seeing is believing. That's what the Vatican is hoping for after Pope Francis unveiled what he publicly declared as St. Peter's bones for the first time in public. It has now sparked questions from critics over the authenticity of the remains.
It's a rare sight, one that's almost hard to believe. For the first time ever, on Sunday, Pope Francis unveiled a mysterious relic buried beneath the Vatican for centuries, St. Peter's bones. Praying before the remains and blessing the casket with incense, Francis became the first pontiff to definitively declare that these bone fragments belong to Peter, the first pope of the Catholic Church.
We want to rub up against what's holy because we believe that we become better when we mix with that which is holy.
St. Peter's bones, the Shroud of Turin, the Belt of Mary, these are the kind of mysteries movies are made of.
Demons, omens, codes, monks, ranks, rocks.
Madonna of the rocks.
Da Vinci.
The bones were first unearthed during an archaeological dig more than 7 decades ago under St. Peter's Basilica, sparking the church to try and break the code behind their monumental find. The church cites circumstantial evidence, for example, that the bones were discovered in an underground crypt with an inscription that read, "Peter is within." Inside the tomb, the bones were wrapped in purple cloth belonging to a 5'7" man, 60 to 70 years old. Similar stats to St. Peter's profile. It's a theory that has drawn many skeptics.
It doesn't make or break Christianity or Catholicism whether or not these are the bones of St. Peter. It's what they signify that is important to the faithful. They say that this flawed fisherman, this disciple of Jesus, who winds up betraying the leader and founder of Christianity 3 times, becomes the first pope, is revered. So it kind of gives hope that anybody can be holy.
Despite the controversy surrounding the authenticity of such relics, the church says it's not about seeing, but believing.
We don't know if it's true that they're the bones of St. Peter. It really can't be proven. We don't have DNA evidence. So it is about belief.
A volcano in western Indonesia seems to have gone into overdrive. It has been spewing rocks and ash up to 8 kilometers into the air. The government has increased its volcano alert status to its highest level. More than 12,000 people have fled their homes. Showers were experienced over the interior and eastern parts of the larger islands today. Fine weather prevailed elsewhere. A trough of low pressure lies slow moving over Tuvalu and extends southeastwards over Wallis and Fortuna. Another trough affects the northern Cooks. Look at the headlines again. Judge overturns assessor's decision and finds Ndriti guilty. PM urges global sugar body to keep politics out of industry. And police seek Australian help in drug investigation. That's Fiji One News. Thanks for joining us. Have a good evening.